Yeah, this is one of my, I guess it's my favorite webinar that I get to do, just because this is a topic where a lot of businesses don't know the value of a CRM, and a lot of them don't are maybe not using them. And so this is kind of like an eye opener for a lot of companies. And usually when I meet with companies, I ask them if they have one, and they don't even know what I'm talking about. So if that's you, don't worry, we're going to go through some of that. And I'm going to show you some value that a CRM can offer. Even in our company, we had a CRM for many years, but we really started taking advantage of some of the automated features and some of the new technology that came around in 2017. And it has totally transformed how we do things as an organization. And I've been doing this for over 20 years now in this space, one of the owners of Symetric for 20 years now. And so much has changed in our industry. So, and our CRM is one of those things where if you don't have one, you're going to want to look at it and see how it can benefit your business, benefit your sales cycle, and a whole bunch of other things. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to do my best to share my screen. All right. All right. Can everyone see my screen here?
Yep.
All right. Doing it a little differently today because I also want to give you some live examples. So that's why you're going to see a little bit of my background. One more second here. Awesome. All right. So as I go through this, if you have any questions, just type them in the Q&A section there, and I'll do my best to answer them. And then I'll also leave some time at the end to expand upon those if needed and answer any that I haven't caught. So here we go. So CRMs. All right, so I want to start off by asking some questions. One of the things that as a business that we need to do is track how many leads we generate per month. So if you do not have a system that tracks leads, and you don't, if you can't tell me at any time how many leads you got last month, how many you got the week before, or even the year past, that's a good indication that you need some sort of metric to help you understand. Because if you can't track how many leads you're getting, then you're going to have a really difficult time in understanding, your progress as a company. Are you, are you excelling? Are you falling behind? Are you matching what you did last year? So one of the things that CRM can do is obviously help you track leads, the number of leads, where they're coming from, and that sort of thing. And I'll dive into more of these things as we get going, but that's one of the questions you should ask yourself. How can you track your leads currently? And how are you doing that? The next thing that you want to look at is, do you have a system in place to manage those leads? If you want to be able to manage all the leads you have, you want to be able to know where they're at any time. You want to be able to track the effectiveness of those leads. So do you have a system in place to manage those leads? And usually, how likely are you to follow up with a lead that falls off? So what I mean by that is, many cases, you may get the deal. Other cases, you may not get the deal. Maybe the client doesn't respond to you. So what is your system there if any of those happens? Do you have a system in place that, if you don't get the lead, what do you do with that lead? I mean, sorry, if you don't get the deal, what do you do with that lead? A lot of companies say to me, well, if they don't respond to me, then they're probably not, interested. Or if it falls off and I don't hear from them, I just kind of let it go. In reality, as a company, you have paid for that person to come to your website or to call you or to do whatever. You've done some sort of cost there to generate those leads. So at bare minimum, you want to be able to capture that lead, and then you want to be able to do something with it. Just because they don't buy with you today doesn't mean they're not going to buy with you ever. It's about working that lead over a period of time to make sure that you're capitalizing on what you've put out there in a marketing effort or financial cost, right? So, if you look at your clients, how likely are they to, how likely are you to follow up with some of the leads that just you didn't win, or they just didn't respond to you? So some of the common mistakes that I see with businesses that hinder their growth is they don't have a clear-cut path or a sales funnel from their marketing. They have no goal in place for tracking their leads. They have no plan for when the customer contacts them, what they're going to do with it. And they have no system to manage to manage them and to keep them accountable. So as a business owner, you have no system to keep you accountable to make sure that you haven't, dropped the ball on anything. And the other thing is that they assume that if the customer didn't respond, that they're not interested. So there's a lot of things that when we look at these things, so the clear-cut sales funnel from your marketing, when I look at that, you want to be able to have a plan right from when they come to the website, how they get there, when they fill out a form, when they do something there, they get into your database. What do you do with them? If you don't have a clear path of what you're going to do with them, and what I mean by that is I've helped a lot of businesses develop that strategy. So when they come in and they fill out a form, what do you want to do? So what is the first email they get? How long do you wait if you don't get a response? If you get a response, what is the next email you get? Do you book a meeting? If you don't hear from them, after the third email, what do you do? And there needs to be a clear path so that everyone in your organization does the exact same thing. Because when you're all doing the exact same thing, then you're going to be able to analyze the effectiveness of that, that plan. You'll be able to understand that, the third email doesn't seem to get any action. Maybe we need to rewrite that email. Maybe I should be calling someone after the second email because obviously they haven't responded to my first two emails. So there needs to be a clear plan of how you're going to deal with that lead when it comes in and what you're going to do with it. Even after you've closed the deal and you've won that customer, what are you doing with that customer then? Do they just fall off? Are you remarketing to them? Are you doing other things in that process to engage them? So there needs to be a plan. There also needs to be some goals in place. If you don't have any goals in place, you're never going to be able to achieve anything different than what you're currently at because you're not striving for it. So even when you think about a normal daily work cycle, you try to jot down everything that you need to get accomplished. And that helps you make sure that you're on track and that you're accomplishing everything. Your business, your leads, your sales, all that needs to have goals in place. They don't have to be crazy goals, but you need to put something in place so you know that you're meeting those needs and you're growing. No system to keep you accountable. So this is a big one. A lot of business owners think, wow, man, I have a great system in place. All the leads that I in Outlook so I can follow up with them. And that helps me know all the ones I need to follow up with, or I have an Excel sheet and I put them all in an Excel sheet and I work on them that way. So those are okay systems, but there's a lot of holes in those systems. So what I found over the years is that, I used to think that I was really good at following up with my leads. I had systems like that in place. I would organize, I put people in different folders in my inbox. I would do all these different things to keep me accountable to make sure that I was following up. But the problem that happened was that the clients that were most interested in my service, I should say, they got most of the attention. So when things got really busy and I was doing well, the ones that, maybe I didn't hear from as often or, I didn't get a reply back, they kind of fell off because I forgot about them because I was busy working on the ones that, seemed to be really hot right now. And so this type of scenario happens with pretty much any business. Once you start getting busy, you don't have time, the mental focus to be able to go back and work on the ones that aren't demanding your attention. So when you have a system in place that maybe does some of that work for you automatically, it can help you stay on track and help you maintain those goals that you're looking for. And then the other thing that came into play was that we often just assume that if I haven't heard from a customer that, I sent an estimate out and they didn't respond, but they're not interested. Well, we all know that email can go into junk. We all know that times get busy and we forget. So you need a plan in place to make sure that you're always following up. And you want to know, like I really like knowing that when I send out an estimate, that someone has actually opened it, how many pages they looked at in my estimate, and if they and when they opened it. So a CRM can help you manage all those things so you know right about your business. So if a CRM is used correctly, so what a CRM is it's basically a system for you. I'll get into it, but it's a customer relationship management tool. And it can do a whole bunch of stuff for your business. So if you use it properly, it will force you to know more about your business. It will force you to develop and maintain a proper sales plan. It will keep you accountable. It will increase customer satisfaction. It will align different team members in your company to make sure you're all doing the same thing. It will increase your profits. It will discover areas for new growth and opportunities in your company. And it can work on its own without you even touching it. So when you think about a CRM, if you're not using one, I would definitely encourage you to start, looking around and seeing what you can find. So what is a CRM? A CRM is a customer relation management tool. It is a strategy. It's a strategy companies use to track customer relationships from pre to post sale. A CRM is software that stores information on a client, prospect, interactions with employee, and more. Marketing sales touch points include, you can track email, you can track phone calls, website visits, live chat, social media. They're all tracked, providing customer-facing employees with detailed context on the client's activity and their feedback. So, all right, so here's a great example. So a lot of people say CRMs cost so much money. So a typical salesperson, if we look at a general day-to-day, will spend 2 hours putting data in on a manual process, following up with emails, putting information into their Excel spreadsheet, looking at that info, copying things over to other tools. And so they'll spend at least 2 hours a day on a typical workday putting that data in. So if you bill $90 an hour like we do, then that's going to cost me over the course of a year $43,000 because I can't bill for that data entry. So if your system is able to save you at least 2 hours a day, then you're going to save $43,000. So even if the CRM cost you $43,000 a year, you're at a wash, but now you're way more profitable in every other area. So when people talk to me about the cost of a CRM, I typically say to them, you know what, it's not really the cost you need to look at, it's how much it's going to save you and how much it's going to help you increase your sales. Because as long as it's benefiting you in all those areas, you're going to win because you're already going to save time in all this other area. Plus, if it's doing a lot of the work for you, you're not going to get typos and things like that if it can do some of those items for you. So the manual data entry process. One of the questions here is, how soon would you set up a CRM? Would you recommend starting right away, even if you're not making sales, or wait till you get customers? I would say that you would start right away, because what you want to do is you want to solidify that process before you even get your customer. If you already have customers, no problem. You're just going to have to work it into that mix. But you want to set something up right away. So you start off out of the gate with a clear plan, a focus, direction, targets, goals, communication strategy, all that right from the beginning, so that you're starting off at the beginning. And with CRMs, you can kind of grow into it. You don't have to get the biggest package all at once. You can grow into different things as your business grows. So as you need more tools or more features, you can unlock some of those things. So I would definitely recommend start right off the beginning. Is the email we get from companies coming from a CRM? Yes, I can touch on that in a minute. To answer your question though, yes, most of them are coming from a CRM, and I'll explain our process as a company and what we do and some of the emails that you would get from us. All right, so buyer personas. So one of the things that most companies have no clue what I'm talking about is a buyer persona. What that means, it's on the screen, but what it means in a nutshell is that we want to know specific information about a user. There's target markets, which is a broader, but a buyer persona is this specific person. So to give you an idea, how you may communicate with a baby boomer would be totally different than how you may communicate with a millennial. But on the same token, you're going to have different groups within those different age groups that are going to want to receive information differently. So just because I am an owner of a company doesn't mean that I'm always going to want to get all my content in written form. Maybe I like to have on the phone conversations better, or maybe I learn better visually. And so you sending me a huge long email is not going to benefit me. Or maybe you're the type of person who doesn't like phone calls and you would rather receive a text message, or you want to receive an email. So we all have different things that relate to us better and help us feel more comfortable with the sales process and help us gain a better understanding if we need to be educated. So buyer persona looks at all these different things about a person and says, okay, based on this type of individual, we think that you should communicate this way. We think that you should present your information in a certain way. So I'm going to give you a great example of that right now, if I can switch my screen here. All right. All right, so we use a tool. So I'm going to pick on my friend Walter here. Everyone see my LinkedIn at the moment? So I've known Walter for a number of years, and this is a really interesting tool that we use. So we have the opportunity. So if I want to market to someone specifically, I can know information about them. And so there's a thing on our website and in some of our communication, which we call smart content, which means that based on the user's personality, their buyer persona, some of the interests that they like, we can automatically make the content change to match their needs. So when you come to the website, I can make the content display something different for you than it could for this other person, because I want the website to be smart enough and intelligent enough to market to you specifically. So I can show you different type of information. So one of the areas that you would use this is maybe you wanted to market to different industries. So if I wanted to market to a different industry, and maybe some of the benefits of my product, benefit this industry different than it would another industry, when they come to the website, I can automatically detect what type of industry they're in. Then I can serve up different type of content that would relate to them. So the power of the CRM, a good CRM, not just enables the information about the customer, but it also helps flip all the marketing and all the other components in the sales process to help you align your communication strategy better with that customer. So a great example of this is there's a little button here on the side that says view personality. This ties in to our CRM. So when I pull this up, it actually analyzes Walter's profile and it tells me everything I need to know about Walter. So this is not because I know Walter. This is because the system that we use is intelligent enough to analyze all your information and then tell us how we should communicate to you. So if I wanted to, it tells me a little info about Walter. It tells me how I should communicate with Walter, keep it casual, make some jokes. Walter is a motivator. He's enthusiastic. He doesn't like harsh feedback. So when I'm communicating, I have to be careful how I do that. If I needed to, call Walter, I could do this, and so I can make a sales pitch. I can click get advice, and it would tell me how I should communicate with Walter. It would tell me based on this type of personality, this is what we think would work best if you want to see your optimum goal reached. So use expressive, colorful language, joke around a bit, ask how he feels about the product, send a visual aid, email, screen share. Don't talk about cost immediately. Use overly descriptive language. So everyone's different. And this is where your marketing component with your buyer persona becomes really interesting. Because if you can detect some of this information right off the bat, then you can learn how to communicate with that type of persona. The other thing we'll let you do is it lets you know how you relate to that person. So I'm over here, Walter's here. We don't always see eye to eye on everything, but we do have some similarities. So I understand now how I would need to communicate and maybe how I would need to change my tone or my preference or the way I would communicate to adjust to Walter. And so some of the things that you can incorporate then would automatically make this happen on your website or your email strategy, or even if you do cold calling, you can use this information. So it goes through a whole list of things of how you would do this. And you can pull up anyone in here. I could even do Doug Ford, and I can pull up his information and go view personality, and it will give me all the information. So if you have an online profile, it's going to be able to grab this data and figure out your personality. So this is a really neat tool when you're exploring how to map out some of your communication strategy. And this is why I'm saying you can't market to everyone the same way every time. You have to be able to adapt that, and you have to be able to figure out what this customer wants. Even content on your website, when we talk about developing content on your website, you want to be able to develop that content so it's relating to a specific user. It's not going to hit everyone all the time. But if you have the ability to maybe change some of that content as users come to the website, now you're going to be able to hit more information. So that's why buyer personas are so important. So you can actually build buyer personas in your CRM and then have communication strategies automatically appear when you need to communicate. Questions here. So I will get back to you. What specific CRM tool? Yes, everyone asked me that. I will get back to that. What CRM tool gives you that info? I'll explain that in a second. So buyer persona, we break it down. We want to know the age, gender, location, income, education. Those all play a factor. Personality, some of the values, their interests, their lifestyle. their loyalty, their user rates, their perceived benefits, all relate differently to different buyers. So a CRM, one of the 5 main things it can do. Obviously, we saw the one about saving price, and that will help you. But the other thing it can do, it organizes all your customer information into one spot. It makes everything run smoothly, and the process is there. So every type of communication piece. So whether I've sent an email, whether I've made a phone call, whether I've had a chat online with this person, whether all that information is tracked and it's put into the CRM. So this helps you have one centralized location of communication that you can always fall back, your team can look at, everything is in one spot. Second thing it can do is look at your sales reporting. So we want to make sure that our sales are always growing. And so when we look at the CRM will allow us to be able to track all that information and be able to understand different things that are happening. How many calls I made, how many emails were sent, how many meetings were booked, how many opportunities were created, how many deals were closed. All those things are under the sales reporting aspect. And, that can be done per user or as a group, as a company as a whole. So you can even, if you have a sales team, you can break that down per user. And you can say, John made 10 phone calls this week, sent 10 emails, and did 3 meetings. And you can track the effectiveness and then align it to John's goals to see how those activities that were done are impacting his sales goals. Couple questions here. Can a website form be filled out and linked to our CRM? Yes, I will show that to you in a second. Another question. Interesting? Yes, I agree. This information is interesting. This is one of my favorite topics. What specific CRM tool? I'm going to get to that one. And is MailChimp considered a CRM? In a very basic sense, I guess it can be considered a CRM. But if you're thinking about a CRM to manage your whole company, it's missing a lot of the functionality. So I would say it's a piece of a CRM, not a complete CRM. Accurate sales forecasting. So when we're tracking all of our deals and all of our quotes that we're doing in the CRM, it can actually forecast how long a customer spends in each cycle of the deal process. So from them contacting you, to receiving an estimate, to you booking a meeting, to them having a follow-up call, to closing the deal. And then you can put a value with that. So this deal is worth X amount of dollars. So it can look at your company as a whole, look at all these different metrics of how long each one of these processes take, and then forecast by the end of the month, based on what you currently do, you should be able to receive this much in income because this is how many deals you typically close in this time frame. And then it will take it a step farther and say, these 2 aspects in your deal process, when they go from meeting with you to writing an estimate, are really long. So if you were able to shorten these 2 cycles in your sales process, you may see an increase in revenue at a quicker rate. So it will help you point out some of those things and let you know what you need to work on. Customer segmentation. So there's another benefit. You can obviously, when you have all the data in the system, you can segment people however you want. You can do it by location, deal size, maybe postal code. You want to look at, different industries, products that they've purchased, where you got the lead from. You can segment everything so you can create different marketing channels and communication strategies to communicate with these people. Scaling. So this is a great way of helping companies grow. If you don't have a process, you can't scale it. The most difficult thing that I hear business owners tell me is that they have a really difficult time reproducing themselves. Meaning, I'm the only salesperson. I have a really difficult time getting another salesperson on board because they don't know the system. But part of the problem is when we actually explore that is they really don't have a sales process. They have it all up here, but nothing's written down of exactly what happens step by step. So when you have this sales process in place, then you can teach everyone, they can follow the same process as you that you want to maintain, and then you can put some accountability for across the board and otherwise, and then be able to grow. So it helps with your business and team as a whole because now everyone's growing together, everyone has the same communication strategy, everyone has the same tools and information, and it's all accountable. So the one that I like to focus on, I can't focus on every CRM. They all are great, but the one that we like to focus on is HubSpot. So I put a link here so that if you wanted to sign up for that, you can get a free account by going to us. But the reason why I'm saying go to us and not to HubSpot directly is because if you ever decide that you want to purchase a product, HubSpot will charge you an onboarding fee. And that means you're going to be working with someone at HubSpot on, over Zoom or whatever, which is fine, but you're going to be working with them to implement your strategy. So if you wanted to work with a local vendor and say, okay, I really want you to help me figure this out, or I don't want to maybe pay the onboarding fee, then you're kind of stuck. You're forced into it. So by signing up here, we can bypass a lot of that onboarding fee because we are a partner of HubSpot, and it's our job to make sure that you understand what you're using with the CRM. And it's our job to make sure that if we have a website, for example, we install the code, get you up and running. That is our job. But if you go directly, I can't help you out with that in the same way. So this allows you to have a free account, use a lot of the free benefits of it. And if you need help with it, I can offer you help. So HubSpot is the one that we use and every day here in our company, and I can show you some of the benefits. So basically, when we get into it, there's the first aspect is contacts and companies. This is what everyone needs. Everyone wants to have a database of all their contacts, all the companies that they service, and be able to break it down. So you'll see here, there's different sections of the preview. I'm going to close this back window here so we can actually see. You can write notes. You can have all your notes for that client in there. You can have every email piece in there. If you call a customer, it will be tracked. If I need to do a task and maybe assign it to another employee or myself to follow up within a couple of days. If I need to schedule a meeting, everything that you need to do for that client is in one spot. And then it tracks everything. So if you are a company that says, okay, we want to send an estimate out, I don't know if my customer received it or not, it would be in here. The email would show that it was sent. It would also let you know that the customer that you sent the email to, if they've opened it, if they clicked on any links, if they viewed your document, if you had a document link in there, I can actually even tell how long you spent on every page of that PDF file. So then I know what pages you were interested in. And then as soon as you open it, I get a notification on my phone that says, hi, Dave is looking at your estimate right now. So then I strategically go back into the system and I say, okay, if Dave's looking at my estimate right now, I'm going to wait 10 minutes and then send him a follow-up email and say, hey, Dave, just want to know if you had a chance to look at our estimate. Let me know if you have any questions. Would love to book a follow-up meeting with you to go through the process and explain anything that you may need some clarification on. So because I know that information, I'm not emailing Dave to ask the question, did he receive the estimate? I'm emailing Dave to see if I can further engage Dave in the process with my sales strategy. So that CRM information is tracked and gives that to you all the time. And it helps you stay informed of everything that's going on. So all this information lives under the contact. The other thing that you can get when you look at the contact is you can look at where they came from. So if you're doing any sort of online advertising, say you're having ads on Facebook, you're having ads on Google, maybe you have referral links out there. You want to know where the lead came from. It will tell you how the user found you. So it will break it down to this ad specifically, this user came from, or this referral link, they came from that source. So it'll let you know where the users come from. That information is important because if you're doing multiple ads across multiple channels, you may want to be able to tie in your sales process with it. And if you tie in your sales process with those ads, you'll be able to do this. You'll be able to say, I get a lot of leads from Facebook, but the leads that I get from Google, the customers in that segment spend more money with me. So then you can make an educated decision and say, okay, do I want more leads, or do I want to put my money into the ones on Google that are showing me that those customers spend more money with me? Which one is better for you? But without knowing that data, you're just knowing that you're getting a lot of leads on Facebook and you're getting leads on Google, but you're not understanding which ones in the end are more profitable for you. So by tracking some of that data, you'll be able to have a better understanding of how your marketing, your sales, and your contacts all come in together. So there's a lot of CRMs out there and they all do different things, but the ones that you want to find is that give you a complete picture. The ones that work the best tell you all that information, because it's not just about that ad you did, it's about how it's providing you a return on your investment as a whole. So when we look at prospects, a prospect is another feature that I'm using HubSpot today, but that HubSpot offers, where it can track visits to the website regardless if they filled out a form with you. So if you're a company that focuses on a lot of business to business transactions and you have an aggressive sales team, they will love this tool. The reason why is, as soon as you come to the website, it will tell me that XYZ company has visited my website today. And it will tell me a whole bunch of more information, such as how much revenue that company generates, how many employees they have, what industry they're in, their Facebook page, their LinkedIn page, a whole bunch of other information down to their address and everything that it will give me automatically without the customer even filling out a form. So then your sales team can say, okay, we saw that these 3 companies came to our website today. Let's give them a cold call or drop off some information to them, because we know that they were interested in some way because they were on our website today. So you can look at potential prospects even though they've never engaged with you. Deal management. This is the system here where we go through this process and we figure out a strategy. So, and this is where some automation can really help. And so if you have a lot of deals on the go, or maybe you're starting, you want to get this strategy in place. And here's how it kind of works, simply. Basically, when someone goes to our website, we have a number of forms. And what happens is when they fill out that form, they get put into our system. And then what automatically happens is, based on what they've entered, an email will go out to them. And that email usually says that I'm looking at booking a meeting with them, because for our sales process, I can't really quote you on anything until I've booked a meeting with you. I need to figure out your needs, your wants, what you're looking for, figure out what tools we can offer to help you achieve those goals. So I can't really give you an estimate until I booked a meeting. So the first strategy that I have to overcome in our sales process is getting a meeting with you. So when you fill out a form, you'll get an email back that looks very personal, because the system automatically personalizes it for you. But it asks for if there would be a great time for us to set up a meeting. And then it puts in my link to book a meeting. And once it does that, it will then take you to my calendar that's automatically synced with my Google, with my Outlook 365. And it will show you my availability for a meeting. Then you put in your information. Once you put in your information, it will automatically connect a Zoom call for you and send you all the information for the Zoom call. So, and I've had to do nothing. So you came to my website, you filled out a form, you've asked to set up a meeting. I send you out an email, then you book a meeting. It automatically sets up the meeting and configures that for you. And I haven't done anything. Now, in that process, if you don't respond to my email, this is where it gets tricky. Because if you don't respond to the email, many customers may, or business owners may think, okay, they're not interested, or they forget to send another one. So if you don't respond to my email within a day, it's automatically going to send you another email, a different type of email, but try to get you to book a meeting. If you still don't respond, in 2 days later, then it's going to send me a task to notify me that I need to give you a call because you haven't responded to any of my meetings requests. So then I give you a call. If I can't reach you and I still haven't got a hold of you, it's going to send you another email in 2 days after that. And it does that for a series of 5 events. And after the 5th event, what it does is it actually notifies me to put you in a lead loss category. So then in 180 days, I try to reach out to you automatically and to see if I can, spur some more conversation. So in this process, we use that to help manage our deals. So when we look at on the right-hand side where it says scoping a call, budget, set, all those titles can be configured to your sales process. But the benefit of it is that it allows me to figure out where a deal is at in any stage. So I can look at the whole company, see the sales team that we have, and see, okay, Dave has 3 deals in this category he needs to get an estimate. He has 4 in this category, 5. And basically you just drag and drop those deals to new categories, and then all your deals are there. And then you can put them in an automation workflow so that if you need to book a meeting, it's automatically trying to book a meeting. Once you've sent the estimate, it's automatically following up with the customer saying, hey, want to make sure you got that meeting request or that deal that I sent over. Let me know if you have any questions. It's automatically can follow up on your behalf and notify you of the status. So someone asked here, will a repeated email become annoying to a prospect? Well, I look at it 2 ways. If they're if they're actually interested in your product and maybe they never got your email, then I don't think they're going to find it, annoying. The other side of it is that if they've taken the time to fill out a form, you want to make sure that they see your email. Maybe it got lost in junk mail, maybe it got deleted. So having a process in place, it's not about spamming the customer. It's about strategically thinking, how do I make sure that this customer gets the information they requested and that I get in front of them to obviously service them. So that's why you mix it up with not just email, maybe a phone call. And you're also trying to understand that type of customer, because maybe they don't like email, or maybe they want a phone call, or maybe they like text messaging. So it depends. It's not about annoying them. It's about making sure that your service is bulletproof, that nothing falls through the cracks. So you mentioned before that CRMs like this are tiered in service packages. What are the price points for HubSpot and the various tiers? So it depends on what you want. So for HubSpot, for example, you can start with a free account and you can use a lot of the services for free. And when you get into automation and those type of features, you're going to jump up. But it depends on what you're looking for, because there's a couple factors. It also depends on how many users you need using the system, if you need other features. So CRMs can go all the way up to, like $3,000 a month. However, you may not need all those things. And so that's why I'm saying, don't get scared of the price point. Think of what you actually need right now. Find something that's going to benefit you. And as you move into those, you'll grow into them. The other thing that to keep in mind is that if the CRM is being used properly, the way it should be, it's going to pay for itself. It's not about the cost. Like it has to be your biggest return on investment. If it can do those things properly, you're going to win. You're going to make more money, and the cost is going to be irrelevant to you as long as you're seeing the return on investment. So you have to be at the stage where you would be able to put this in and see the return on investment. And so that may be the free account is your return right now, or you may be looking at some of the pro features and go from there. Can the HubSpot CRM be used for just lead tracking? We already use MS CRM. Yeah, you can use it just for tracking your leads and your sales process or the customers that come in, depending on what you want to use it for. So that's why I'm saying that not every business is going to be the same, but these are some of the tools that it offers and how you would benefit from them. So the deals is my biggest one, because if you start putting numbers in, it will automatically make sure that no one's followed up, that everyone's followed up with. It will let you know at every stage of the CRM for that deal. It will let you know who needs attention, and it will keep you notified when they're looking at your content. So here's what I mean by the templates and the sequences. So the sequences that I was talking about earlier is when they first want to book a meeting with me. So you get to determine how the sequence structure works. So if you're worried that X amount of emails is going to spam your customers, you don't need to worry about that, because you can have one email or 2 or 10. It doesn't matter. You can build out that process however you want. You also get to change the communication, what is said in those emails. So you can have different ways of communicating with that client so it doesn't seem spammy. It doesn't seem like it's just automated. The idea of these is not to make it seem automated. The idea of it is to make it seem like it's personal and that you're offering value to your customers. So this on the right-hand side, it kind of gives you a little snapshot of how you would build out that sequence. Email 1 goes out on this date. Email 2 would go out, 5 days later. So you get to build out that sequence, how you want it to work for your organization, and how it's going to help make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Are CRMs on subscription-based? Usually, you can get some that are on not a subscription base, but the problem is if you're not on a subscription base, you're probably not going to be updated with the newest features all the time. So if the CRM introduces new technology that's coming down the pipe to work with different aspects like Outlook and things like that, you may not have that newest technology, and so then you're going to have to pay again. So looking at a CRM that's on a monthly subscription also helps you know your monthly cost, your return on investment for every month, and it also makes sure that any new tools that get added, that you have the benefit of getting. Okay. What does your average customer spend on HubSpot? For a CRM, it's all different. So we don't I don't sell specifically HubSpot. HubSpot sells HubSpot. We just help facilitate the sale with HubSpot because it helps us be able to perform some of the marketing aspects that our clients need. So they're all over the board. We have clients that spend, $3,200 a month. We have clients that spend, $50 a month. We have a lot of clients that are on the free package. We have clients that spend 800. It's all over the board. It's not an average. It's based on what that business needs to grow. So looking at that, we go through a plan with you to figure out what do you actually need. Show me some of your weaknesses. Let's figure out how we can solve those and make it a return for you. All right, we'll get to the email component in a minute there. So this is the one-off emails where you're working with the client directly and you want to help get in front of them and make sure you haven't missed anything. So, there's another tool in there called a snippet. So we use a snippet to quickly grab predetermined information that a customer is asking for. So a great example for that would be, when I say, would you like to book a meeting with me? And I'm typing that meeting out and I'm not using a sequence. I can say pound Joe calendar, and it will automatically load in all the text, the link, and the communication about how they would book a meeting with me instantly. So I'm not having to retype that every time. So that can be a snippet where you can just quickly grab content, throw it in the email with everything that you've put in there. So it helps save time that way as well. Meetings. So how it works is it actually connects with either your Gmail or your Office 365 calendar, and it looks at your availability. And then you have the capability of setting up when you want to meet with people, how long you want those meetings to be, if they're going to be in person, if they're going to be on Zoom. It will also send all the follow-ups to help remind those customers of the meeting. So when we talk about saving time, it's not just about the sales process. It can be all the other communication in between. So like I mentioned earlier, with our process, it will automatically allow you to go to my calendar, book a meeting with me, put it in my calendar and in your calendar, send you the Zoom information, and then send you reminders that we're meeting. And I haven't had to do anything. That's all automated. So if I said, for example, you'll never be able to book a meeting with me on Zoom on Tuesdays because I use Tuesdays to do a lot of my other communication. So I've automatically said in HubSpot, do not allow a customer to book a meeting with me on Tuesdays in the morning because I'm tied up with other things. So you can set your own plans and different calendars for that information so that you can make sure that as you're going through this process, you're organizing your time effectively. You don't want your calendar just to be open all the time and people booking you whenever. You want to make sure that you're strategically planning out when you can actually meet with people. The other time that I've seen people do this is maybe they do out of town visits, or they, maybe your landscaping company, and you say, okay, we want to visit, the south end of Niagara on these days and the north end of Niagara on these days. So we'll send a client who lives in the north end calendars showing that they can only book meetings on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the other clients will send the other calendar where they can book a meeting Mondays and Tuesdays. So you can set up different calendars to work with you to make sure that it goes in the process that you want it to work. So calling, this aspect is really neat because it will log all your calls. It can even record the call for you. So then you can play it back and listen to it if you need to. You, as a rule though, you need to get consent from the customer when you're recording the call, but you have the ability to record all the calls. So basically what you can do is you click on the call button, it grabs the phone number from the client and creates a call right on your computer and dials in, and the quality is great. And you can talk to the customer right through your browser, and it will look like it's coming from your office. And then you can attach all your notes to it. You can even set a follow-up reminder, or you can assign that call to someone else now so they've heard the transcript and they can maybe write an estimate for you if needed. So you have the ability to track all that information, the call, recording, all of that through the CRM. So now it's not just the emails you're tracking. You see every bit of communication that's been sent to that client. Calls, emails, documents, chats, anything else, attachments that you've put in there are all under one place. So this is where it's, again, showing you that it's tracked. It shows you that an email has been sent, delivered, opened, how many times they've opened it. They looked at this page. They went and they did an action on this page. This kind of gives you a snapshot of how some of that data is tracked. Does HubSpot over CRM and project management combined software? Not sure if I quite understand what you mean. I assume you're meaning, does HubSpot allow you to grab other software like a QuickBooks or something and integrate it? HubSpot has thousands of different types of software that you can integrate. That one there where someone was asking about what tool do I use to check the personality. That's called Crystal Knows, and that is another tool that links into HubSpot. We also connect our QuickBooks, so we can pull in some of the data. So as I'm writing an estimate, it can send the information over to QuickBooks, so I'm not having to enter all their data in again. It puts it all in their accounting information. And so you can do some of those things. And even if you have other email marketing tools, you can link that data and sync it between different things. So there's lots of tools that you can use to integrate. The live chat. So this is a free feature of HubSpot. You can actually sign up for a HubSpot account, grab that the embed code, paste it on your website, and instantly you have a live chat on your website that will come to your phone when someone actually starts chatting, or it will come to your desktop here or your laptop, and you can start communicating with someone on your website in real time. It will notify you that they're there right now, and you can communicate. So that's a free tool. Some of the other tools, some of the form features are free as well. Managing all the contacts are free. So there's a lot of free tools you can do within HubSpot. You can even send out some email marketing pieces for free in HubSpot, and it's all tied back together. Documents. So this is what I was talking about before. If you have a team, or maybe you want to have documents that you need to send to customers all the time, maybe it's a waiver, maybe it's a warranty thing, or maybe it's an explainer document that gives it more information. You can put all the documents in HubSpot, and then you have links to it. And then it will tell you how many times it's been shared, how many visitors have viewed it, and that sort of thing. It will even let you break it down per visitor and say, this person looked at these pages, they spent 10 minutes on this page, 3 minutes on this page, and it will give you that full information about that. It even has tools where if you are an Outlook user, for example, you can get a widget that will attach that all those tools, those templates, those documents right within Outlook. So maybe you don't like the HubSpot interface and you say, I want to just be able to do this from my Outlook. No problem. You can do it from your Outlook, and it's all synced and tied together. Personalization. So this is the one that I was talking to a little bit earlier, where you can personalize the content. As people come to the website, you can make different pop-ups appear on the website that are personalized to them. So if you know that they're a client of yours already, then maybe you don't need to send them certain information because they're already a client of yours. Maybe you want to give them different information. So when they come to the website, you can strategically change that content to be relevant for them. So it's a different experience, and it's a unique experience for that client. Email marketing. So HubSpot has a great email marketing tool where you can, for free, you can send 2,000 emails per month using HubSpot. You can design your emails, drag and drop your content, send out email blasts, and it's all tracked down to the customer again. So now we're completing this whole cycle of you getting a complete picture of what that customer receives, where they're taking action on, and understanding all your efforts. So many companies have, email marketing over here, they have their social media over here, they have their ads over here, they have their contacts over here, and they don't all work together. And so then it becomes a difficult thing to put in place to say, okay, how are all these things doing? I know if they're doing well on their own, but I don't know how they're affecting my clients, my sales process, my marketing strategy. So by having them all in one spot, you get a clear picture of how they're all relating together, and you are able to make better decisions on what's working and what's not. So email marketing is a component that you can do right in here, build off your list, build off of maybe a form that was filled out, build off a segment based on this customer type of action or behavior, and you can send out email marketing pieces right from within HubSpot. Ads is another one. You can actually create all your ads here. So if you want to say, I want to do a Facebook ad, you can go in and create it, and it will tie it all down here. Same with a Google ad or a LinkedIn ad. You can track all that information right within HubSpot. So then it will also allow you to pull some really neat reports. So maybe your boss says, I want to see a report every week that shows, how well we're doing on all these areas. HubSpot has the ability, because it's capturing all that data, to create reports instantly. As soon as you log in, you have a dashboard that shows you everything that's important to you. So you can have multiple dashboards for different teams. So maybe you say, as a marketing team, we want to, log in and see how well our website's doing. We want to see how many visits, what the bounce rate is, all that different information. That report will be tailored to you when you log in. Maybe you are the owner of the company. You say, I want to see everything. I want to see how many deals we're getting, what our deal forecast is, how many leads we got, where they're coming for, how my sales team did, all the actions my sales team did, how many calls they made, how many meetings were booked. All that information is tracked, and you can pull that up instantly. You can even set it to email you a really nice looking PDF every week. So if you want it in your email saying at the end of the week, I want a PDF that shows how we did, it can do that for you. So that's why some of the CRM tools and the forecast and reports, it's great to have it all in one spot, because then you can pull all that data in and generate reports. This is another cool feature if you're doing trade shows. I know we're not doing a whole lot of them right now because of COVID, but it has the ability to take a photo of a business card and automatically enter all that data in and put it right into your CRM for you. So then it can automatically add the client in, their business, all of that. And once it adds the business in, if there's some information online about the business, it's going to automatically pull in some more information. It can tell you some of that key information that I told you about prospects right into the business hub. So it can let you know that, this business that you just added has this many employees. They roughly generate this much in revenue. Here's their information that you didn't pull from the business card, and it's going to try to put that all together for you. So that's a tool with the apps. HubSpot also has an app, so you can do this right on your phone. You can chat with customers from your website right on your phone. You can send out emails, look at your deals. All that information is right from your phone. So I'm looking at some of the questions here. Can you recommend a privacy policy template to incorporate all the information captured by these programs to include on our website? So HubSpot actually has a lot of the predetermined privacy information and consent that you need. You still need to develop your own privacy policy in terms and conditions of how you're going to use that data. But HubSpot actually has a lot of that content built right in. So you can say, I want them to consent to going to the chat or receiving a form or filling out that information. It gives you some predetermined text that you can look over to allow the user to consent before proceeding. How do you deal with the nasty customer? I had a customer message me today and because of an ad they received in their feed on Facebook. So that one's tricky. I would say you have to treat it as if they walked into your store and they started yelling at you. You follow the same practices online that you would in the store. The idea is that you want to, diffuse the situation, make that customer happy, and see what you can offer. We've seen a lot of times over the years where there's bad reviews. People understand that things are going to happen in a business, and you're never going to be 100% perfect. You're going to have issues. But what customers really look for is not whether you had an issue. They want to know how you solved the issue for the person who made the complaint. So I remember my grandmother saying to me, I grew up in a family business, and she said to me, no one ever remembers you for being okay. No one ever remembers your business for being okay. They only remember you if you did a fantastic job or you did a terrible job. So when you think you go to a restaurant and you fill out, those forms and you leave a review online, it's either because you had exceptional service or you had terrible service. So as a business owner, you always want to portray the exceptional service. Even if it's a bad experience, you want to find a way to show everyone online, hey, we cared about this person and we did everything we could to rectify the situation. So that's really what it's about, finding ways that you can, show how you helped with that situation the customer had. So that kind of leaves us as our time for going into the CRM.